Everyone, it's Trevor here with another Daclus quality review. This is part of my New Year's resolution to see every movie that comes out in my theater and give a quick little review while sitting in my car on my phone. So today I went and saw The Conjuring 2. I don't know if you noticed, this is the same day I saw, what did I just see earlier today? Can't remember that. Now You See Me Too. I had some time in my schedule and I was worried that I wouldn't be able to see it uh, by Sunday, and I really kind of wanted to, so I went and saw it today. So The Conjuring 2 is a sequel to James Wan's The Conjuring. It follows Ed and Lorraine. What are their last names? I don't remember their last names, but sort of their case files. It's their true case files. It's sort of like the true story, but it's based on their case files. And so in this one, a woman in England, not a woman, a small child, she is possessed, or the house is possessed, but she's being sort of the main target of a haunting sort of a thing, and the 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 main characters are sort of they're contracted, I guess, in a way. They work sort of with the church, and they go out to see if it's real. They're mainly just checking right now to try to get evidence that this thing is actually exists. Or existing would be the context of the sentence I had already started. So this movie is crazy frightening. I did see the first one. I don't remember particularly loving it. It's been a long time. I don't think it was bad or anything. I just don't particularly remember. I think my issue with it that I remember at the time was it's not really a conjuring that occurred. I don't think there was any actual conjuring that happened in it. And I think that's what made me go, but why is it called that? There's no conjuring. I think that might have been my only issue with it then. But this one is incredible. It's really, really good. It's James Wan again. My main reason for wanting to see this more than the others was because he's directing Aquaman coming up, and after seeing this, I'm pretty excited because it was really good. And it's not just the horror aspect of it. What I was really surprised by was how well the characters are developed, not just the main two, but all the other ones. Just and I think that helped with sort of building the suspenses. You actually care about these characters and you understand them. You sort of get to know them, and it works really well. And I mean, they built a story, like the story. There's different stories involving the characters, and you care about them. There's some comedy in this that's built up pretty well. It just all works together so well, and it's frightening. And part of it, especially early on, when it's mostly those little things of, ooh, is something behind there type of thing, or the little setups, before it really starts going, you have to get the little sort of scares, and it really builds that tension up really nicely because, and I think that might be it, is because you care about the characters more or something, but it still does those things that I think so many, at least for me, why I don't really care for most horror movies, is I feel like something's gonna come. They always set up sort of the music cue and something's gonna happen here. Close the fridge. I mean, it doesn't do any of the same usual stuff that you might see of like closing the fridge and something's behind it or whatever. But you still have those similar moments where obviously it's like, okay, either something's gonna happen or we're supposed to think something's gonna happen and it doesn't. But it still does that, but you still feel tense. And I think that's what this movie does. It builds that atmosphere really well. And it just executes it greatly. And this, I mean, I think most horror movies are pretty short. This one's long, and it's long because it's good. I mean, they built a story in there that's not just, oh, here's a horror movie to scare people. It actually tells a story with the characters and a concrete sort of revolving story that works with it, and I really enjoyed it a lot. The whole thing is fun. I think there are a few issues here and there, but for the most part it's great. It does a lot that's similar to sort of older horror movies, sort of the classics, So like Poltergeist is the one I kept sort of thinking of, and just the feel, in the feel of the tone and where you are, it just gives off that sort of feel. This also does, I don't want to give too much away, but it does some crazy stuff in terms of stuff that you might see in sort of a weird B movie, horror movie from like the Sci-Fi Channel or something, with like that, like there's like that Jack Frost one and stuff like that. It does something that reminds me of that, but it does it so well and it works, and it's frightening. This is a frightening movie with characters you really care about. I want to give a big like the main sort of uh, female sort of kid. Uh, she um, she is really good. The one that's sort of the target of everything she's amazing. I mean, she killed it in her performance, and it's not just being possessed, but like just her, like you feel the emotion and everything. Like she's feels like such a great, like a real person, and she does it. So she's fantastic in this. I think as a kid actor, especially, I mean, that's hard to find, and so she really kills it. I don't know what else. I can't think of anything she's been in, so I might have to look it up. I think her name's Madison. It's either her first or last name. I saw the credits, but I don't remember what it was. But yeah, she's killer in this. She's really good, and just this whole movie is spectacular, and the things it does, like I said, the B movie stuff, or the stuff you only see in the B movies where it's like it's too out there maybe, this can do it and it works. And I think James Wan from this especially is he's a big director to watch, because I mean, as I said, horror movies, I don't think I've seen a good one in like a long time. Except for The Witch was really good this year. It's definitely the thing about The Witch, though. It had a different feel. It didn't feel like your usual horror movie. That was more of a tense, just disturbing feeling the entire time. And there was nothing particularly, I'd say, horror or horrifying or scary as much. It was just this really disturbing feeling. Whereas this one, it's actually like there's some jump scares and there's some frightening stuff. And so that's where I'd say they're different in somewhat, even though they're still under the horror genre type thing. They have a very different, distinct feel to them, and that's what makes them great. I mean, this one is more, it feels more like your usual horror movie, but it's a incredibly well done sort of usual horror movie. So yeah, I give this one high praise. I'm looking forward to some more James Wan stuff, whatever he does. Even though I don't particularly remember the first Conjuring, this one did it for me, and I didn't see. He did like Fast 7 or Furious 7 or 8. I don't know, but he did one of those Fast and Furious movies, the last one, and I didn't see it because didn't have much interest in those movies, but I know he got some praise for that, and he deserves praise for, and yeah, I'm looking forward to what he does going forward. So that is. Oh, also I want to mention this might actually be like the best, for me at least, the best representation of sort of religion, particularly it's, I believe, Christianity in this, and it's for me the best representation, even though there are movies that built around it. They're not great movies, and they're a bit, I don't know, cheesy and stuff here and there. But this one, it does have, it really kind of does push it a bit, not push it like in a bad way, but it sort of is a very positive image of Christianity and religion, and it does it in a really good way. And I mean, it's straightforward. It tells you what it's trying to say, and it works. I mean, it's pretty positive in a very good way. So I'd say this is probably, if you're looking for a movie, a really good movie with Christianity in it, this might be your best bet. Because I mean, it's not religious in its main focus, but it does a bit here and there and stuff. And what it does do, it's really good. And I'm not religious. I'm agnostic. So good on you. This was your best, I think, for especially to someone who isn't religious. That's a good representation, I think. So, that's it. That's Conjuring 2. One more movie this week. I still have Warcraft to see. Can't believe it's the last one I'm going to see. I kind of wanted it to be the first, but scheduling and all that stuff, it just didn't work out. But I will see it tomorrow, which will be the day probably this will go up even. I don't even know. But until then, thanks everyone for watching. Check out more videos of me doing reviews here at this channel. Subscribe here. We also do trailer reactions. So it's my friends, a couple of friends of mine, and myself. We react to the geeky trailers that come out. So that's movies, TV, video games, and comic books, whatever trailers they might just come out with. We also have a podcast called Geek Wars Podcast. Find that in your favorite podcatcher, where we talk about the geeky news of each week. We also have a Twitter at Geek Wars Podcast. You can follow us there. And you can follow me on Twitter at Daclus. Spelling is in the title of the video. Thank you everyone for watching, and until next time, bye!